Well, welcome back and thank you for staying with KTN Prime. Now, a lot is happening when it comes to matters of human rights, and that is exactly what we want to talk about, the state of human rights in our country. And joining me is Hussein Khalid, who is the CEO, Vocal Africa. Good evening, and thank you so much for making time.
Thank you.
Now, today, 2 bodies of the missing Mlolongo men have been identified. Quite unfortunate after weeks and weeks of, protest and parents and families wondering where their sons are. Coincidentally, it is the same day that the Inspector General of Police, Douglas Kanja, and DCI boss Mohammed Amin appeared in court. Raises more questions than answers, does it?
Definitely it does. And it's a worrying concern that Kenyans should rightfully have. I think the state of human rights in our country is alarmingly appalling, to say the least. And bodies are appearing everywhere. As you've correctly put it, we've finally found these 2 bodies that went missing since, I think it was mid-December, around 17th of December. And what is surprising for us is that today, again, we had the Inspector General and the DCI appearing in court saying, we don't know where these people are, we don't have them. Ashley, you'll also remember that the people who are processing these bodies are police officers. It is police officers who actually took the fingerprints, who processed and even sent a message to their homes, So the police in itself knew where these individuals are. But you have the head of the police service going to court saying, we don't know where these people are. So the question that everyone is begging for an answer for, and I think the president of the Law Society of Kenya asked this, is the police operating as one unit? If your officers are the ones who are actually going to the morgues, doing the fingerprints, they've actually identified this individual, they've even sent a message to his rural home that, this body is lying at the morgue. How is it that you, as the head of that institution, do not have that information? So these are questions that we are asking. And for us, you see, I think we've had situations in the past where we had abductions. We were, 2-3 years ago at Rivayala. We saw what happened there, Tana River, Shakahola, and all
Quarry.
that. Quarry. Just the other day, last year. The question that, raises so many concerns is that it doesn't seem like the security agencies are in charge or are in control of the security situation in the country. They seem to just not know what is happening. It appears as if there is another unit that is working clandestinely, that is getting directions from some mysterious forces that is behind these abductions, that is behind these human rights violations, that is behind the killings.
So then who takes responsibility? Is it the police? Is it the government? What is the missing link?
At the end of the day, by law, in accordance with the Constitution and the laws of the land, the police have the primary responsibility. The government, through the Cabinet Secretary for Interior, have the responsibility of ensuring the safety and protection of all Kenyans. So that they cannot run away from. Even when they go to court and they tell us we don't have them, they still have that responsibility of finding those individuals and making sure that they are reunited with their families. So we cannot have a vacuum when it comes to security. You cannot tell us we don't have them, so go sort yourselves out. That cannot happen. And, the Inspector General of Police and the Director of DCI still must do what they can. And this is what is worrying Kenyans, because they seem to have given up. You go to court and you say, we don't have them, and you walk away. You don't give the court answers. Yes, we did not have them, but we have confirmed that this body is lying at the morgue. Or we have, gotten leads which will make us, find out where these individuals are. But when there are no answers, it's really bad for the security agencies.
I mean, I'm just wondering, you as a person, you as a humanitarian, do you have faith in our justice system?
In the justice system, so the justice system has various actors within it. We have, of course, the judiciary, you have the police, you have the Director of Public Prosecutions, you have the Attorney General. So there are a number of institutions that are within the justice system. But at the end of the day, whether we have faith or not in the justice system, we must still approach the justice system. Like today, we had the Director of Criminal Investigations when we're in Nakuru, following up on the case of Brian Odhiambo, as you know, who has been missing for the last almost 2 weeks.
Yeah.
The DCI said that, you know, he has recommended to the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions that the 6 KWS Rangers be arrested and charged with abduction to murder. You see, so the police in that case, the DCI, have done their investigations. They have their evidence, and they have forwarded that to the ODPP. So it's up to the ODPP now to look at the file, look at the evidence that has been adduced, and then make a decision to charge these individuals. So once that is done and it is presented in court, then the judiciary has to listen to the case, has to weigh, you know, the evidence presented before it and pass a ruling or a decision on that particular charge. So the judiciary, and I mean the judicial system, has various actors within it, including ourselves.
Yeah.
Because as human rights practitioners, as lawyers, we have that responsibility of working with families, which we have been doing over the last couple of months in trying to help them to come forward, to give any evidence that they have so that we can find a way out. So just to answer your question briefly, I believe the judicial system that we have in the country can navigate through the cases that we have, but we need to give them an opportunity to do so.
Okay, so looking at the statistics, where are we at?
The statistics actually are really bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think in recent years we've had the statistics this awful. You know, every other day, I mean, we're lucky that we found 5 of the abductees, you know, being released just a few weeks ago. But then we are seeing now others that were abducted appearing in morgues. You know, the number of killings that are, you know, every other day reported in the media, KTN and others, is really shocking. We have a situation in the country where Kenyans are treated to deaths and abductions almost on a daily basis. The entire country, I believe, you know, in terms of mental health, we are really doing very poorly, because every other day we hear news of human rights violations, a murder, you know, women all over, femicide and stuff like that. I think we are in a very bad situation. And if you ask me, in recent years, it has never been this bad.
Comparing this government and the previous regime, I mean, how does that comparison look like? Has it gotten worse?
Yes.
To some extent.
To answer your question directly, yes. And I'm saying yes because while in the previous regime, we also had cases of human rights violations, we at least saw some form of control, or at least the government wanted to show Kenyans that they're doing something about it and they will try and address the concern. In this particular regime, what we are saying, first of all, is that there was a promise that these things will not continue to happen. It's very bad when you promise such action will be taken and then people see the opposite of what you have promised. So that's the first point. The second point is that those in authority appear to be justifying the ills that are happening. You hear, oh, morals, let them, you know, watch themselves and we will stop these abductions. You hear others saying, yes, you can't put someone in a coffin virtually. So they seem to be justifying these outright human rights violations that are happening. And these are not just mere supporters or sycophants. These are senior people in government, almost senior most in government. So that makes it even worse. And the third part is that the security agencies appear to lack control of the security sector in the country. When the IG goes to court and says we don't have them, it means he's acknowledging that there's someone somewhere who has these people and he doesn't know who they are. So if you as the Inspector General don't know where these individuals are, who else is supposed to know? So there are certain pointers that make this particular regime far much worse than the previous regimes we have seen in recent times.
Okay, so then do you think Kenyans will ever get answers?
I'm hoping yes.
Hoping.
Because, yes, at the end of the day, you know, there are a number of cases that we have seen out there. And, you know, in as much as they're trying, there are clear attempts to cover up. If I can give the example of the KWS case in Nakuru, there are clear attempts to cover up. But at the end of the day, someone somewhere will come out with the truth. You know, we were very happy with what the DCI presented today, all the evidence that he got, and he said these rangers, he has recommended that they be charged with the abduction with intention to murder.
Yes.
So I believe that at some point we will find the truth, and that will lead us to justice for the many families that are presently yearning for that justice.
Unless that happens, do you think that we can hold leaders accountable of these things that we're seeing?
We must. We don't have an option. We must. And this is why we are documenting these utterances by some of these leaders. And we need to tell them that you're in office today and you don't know where you will be tomorrow. If you recklessly make utterances that, you know, go against the law, if you think that you will be in power forever, we need to tell them that that is not the case. We have seen the mighty fall, you know, not just in Kenya. We have many examples here in Kenya, but even across the world. So we have to tell them, and we shall hold them accountable for what they are doing, for their failures in office, whether you are a constable who shoots a journalist, or you are a cabinet secretary who defends injustices. The day will come when you will be held accountable for your actions, for your utterances, and that day is not far away.
I hope so. Well, thank you so much, Hussein Khalid, the CEO of Vocal Africa. We take a short break here on KTN Prime. Up next is Business News. Another break.